Oops, this just in. What Hi-Fi gave the Vintage 5s a 5-star review. We put a link down in the description. Go check it out. Hi, this is Kevin Deal from Upscale Audio, and today we're going to talk with Max Mod from Fyne Audio.
Hi Kevin, how are you doing?
Sir. I'm doing great. I'm wearing my British flag. I wanted to make sure I had it straight because I don't want to offend anybody. So.
No, that's nice. You wouldn't offend anyone. In fact, we use that in a lot of our marketing. So
there you go. I feel like the cavalry is here, right? I feel like the cavalry is here because Fyne Audio has been, through a series of circumstances, I get to be able to sell these products. And by the way, if you want to see a Fyne Audio product, or if you decide you want to buy one, make sure that you support your local dealer. I'm saying that all the time now because I think that every town needs, they moved my record store here to another town, and I think every town should have a record store and a hi-fi store. So make sure that you support them. So Max is here to talk to us about this made in the UK, amazing vintage 5 loudspeaker.
Yeah, the baby of the range, the little cutie. It's the V5 or the Vintage 5. Call that because it's got a 5-inch isoflare drive unit, which we shall reveal in a minute. But this is the baby of the full fat vintage range. So it's as good as we can do. You know, it's taken Dr. Paul 5 years to get round to perfecting all the new technologies, you know, the BassTrax diffuser system, the latest neodymium drive unit. It's just, you guys can't see it, you know, there, but I think Kevin will agree, the attention to detail and the fit and finish, the panel gaps, everything. You know, it's a birch ply laminate cabinet, so it's incredibly strong. Ridiculously strong shell. It's like an egg. It's super strong, and you've got American walnut finish with a burr walnut. So I'm sort of thinking of the dashboard on Dr. Paul's Bentley is just like this. It's a burr walnut finish. So it's quite exquisite in its design and everything about it. In fact, it's so good, it would be easy to sort of think, oh, it's not a serious product, it's just a trinket, it's really beautiful. But you've heard it, right?
I've heard it. And I got to say something. If you don't know who Dr. Paul is, I actually got to have, because, I mean, this company is so accessible. There's no cloak and dagger about where a factory is. There's no like this and that. I mean, it's just like, hey, man, this is Fyne Audio. This is us. This is our factory. This is Max Mod. I mean, you've got all the original people that have been working together for decades, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And the thing is,
the
like,
whole team's back together.
The real deal is what I would call it, and I want you to look at this. This is going to be a little more expensive than maybe some competitive products, but it's just at a different level.
Well, it's a completely different level,
a different thing. As he said, this is birch ply. And that's a real big deal. I mean, and it is so solid. And then look at the inlays here and the burl.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's really good. It's really good. So, you know, this because it's the baby of the vintage range. There's 4 models in the range. There's a Vintage 5, 5-inch drive unit, Vintage 10, 10-inch, Vintage 12, 12-inch, and the big Vintage 15, which I think we're going to be showing soon. But this is it's just a whole different level. So the vintage classic range that we've also discussed previously is still better than anything that we've done previously. Dr. Paul's designed it with all the BassTrax diffuser. Everything's better, even with that lower range of vintage classics. But the real deal vintage range is like every single box is ticked. So, and this product also has I always smile when I say this because I know how excited and passionate the guy is. Dr. Paul Mills we're still talking about. So Fyne, we've invested in full cryo treatments. We don't send stuff out to get done and it takes forever. You never really know what you're getting. So we've got our own cryo facility within the factory in in Scotland, and so on a daily basis we're going down to like minus God knows. You've got to go to outer space to go down to the temperatures that we're going down to, and it de-stresses lots of the components. And you know, NASA and the F1 circus use this cryo technology for a reason, because it de-stresses the components. But because we've got it all in house at the Fyne factory in Scotland, we can take time taking things down in temperature, and then we can take time bringing it back up because it's all in-house. We can control the quality. And Dr. Paul is adamant doing that slow cryo process really brings strong dividends and a higher level of performance. So this has full cryo, whereas the vintage classic range has cryo light, we call it. It's more just the cables. All the components in the crossover are done on this. And the main technology is the BassTrax diffuser. I don't know whether you guys can see, but there's a small gold peak in there, like a little mountain. So the bass energy comes down, and even these little guys move a lot of air. You wouldn't believe it, The energy hits the top of the peak, turns it from a plane wave into 360 degrees. It's like dropping a pebble in a pool of water. The rings radiate out from the center. So I mean, you don't have the same level of placement issue with a small loudspeaker as you do with a big loudspeaker, but a lot of people will still use this speaker, Kevin, on like a sideboard or a unit, so you do really want that bass control still, So it's just, I would say to people, even if you're not in the market at the moment for a speaker like this, listen to it, because it's just like, it's an oh my God moment, isn't it?
And the way that they just like disappear in the room, because you have such a small cabinet, you're not dealing with the cabinet size. And then when you have this driver, which is
it's
playing
an
back
isoflare
from a single point source, an isoflare.
Yeah.
I mean, music is coming out from one point source, the same way it's recorded. And it just makes the speaker disappear. It is crazy. And then if you're kind of a bass nut, but I'm just telling you, one of the systems in my home is a pair of little bookshelves and a pair of subs, and it is just scary what you can do with that, in the event that you cannot have bigger speakers. There's other ways to achieve it, and you should talk to an experienced salesperson about that.
Well, you can always support these with a sub for sure, and many do. But if you've got a room that's not just a tiny or small room, but even a medium-sized room, these things, if you get them on a solid stand, so they're not. That's really important. So they're not wobbling around. Because if they are wobbling around, it sort of you sort of beat. It makes the BassTrax diffuser system not where you're defeating the point of having it, keeping things tight for you. So get them mounted really solid, and then the low frequencies are just incredible. Yeah. But we always say, I always say, the tail wags the dog. So if the bass, if the foundation isn't correct, that has a derogatory effect on the other frequencies. So get the thing set up properly, get it solid, you'll get the best out of the BassTrax diffuser, and you'll really reap the rewards with what this point source speaker is all about. That accuracy in the mid-band, that one voice, I always say we've always got one mouth, we've got two eyes, two ears, but we've always got one mouth. So you're really going to benefit from this design if you get the thing set up properly. But bit of a worker. You can tell it's a real favourite of.
Beautiful.
We love all our products, just like you love all your children for sure. Yeah. And I'm not suggesting you're going to have one favourite child at all, but we all have a soft spot for this. We really do.
Yeah. There's nothing else on the market that really looks like it. Not like this, that is made with this kind of quality. Birch ply is another planet from just using MDF, and you have to use MDF in many cases. And we
use MDF in some of our budget products. In the classics, we use HDF. But
this is balls to the wall for a little mini bookshelf, right?
Yeah. Well, if there's a better product out there, well, we'll go toe to toe. We'll take that Pepsi challenge.
I know who the competitors are, and I know it can kick. That it kicks the snot out of them. Now, this mid-band control, the presence control, is an absolute must, I think. And I cannot thank you enough for having Dr. Mills
Yeah.
put this there. Tell him I thank him actually because it's brilliant.
Yeah, well, basically it's a presence control, and it allows you to adjust the vocal or that mid-range. So if you're listening to the loudspeakers, if you've got the image in front of you, you can actually move that image fore and aft. So depending on your environment, your system, and sometimes even maybe the music you're listening to, if you're just into that, maybe that a cappella vocal or something, and maybe the recording isn't quite what you want, you can just adjust it ever so slightly. We're talking small amounts. If you're listening and you can turn it and you think, oh, there's nothing happening, it's just very, very subtle.
Yeah. I mean, what if you're listening to David Bowie doing Suffragette City, right? That can get a little bit forward in the mid-band.
Yeah, it can be. So you can
that.
just pull the vocal back a little bit, you know?
That's what we're talking about.
So,
now on the back you've got, I'm going to turn this if I can do so without breaking something. Here we go. These are not the pseudo WBT style.
no, these are the real deal.
The real deal,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, next gen terminals.
Next gen.
Yeah, they're pretty good. And you've got the earth terminal there, which, helps get rid of sort of a bit of RF, which in a lot of countries you don't need it. Some countries having an earth can help, there can be a lot of static and, I'm seeing more and more people use this earth terminal on products nowadays. And this just worth mentioning this, Kevin, that the fabric around here isn't just like a design thing. It's actually covering a port because the entire bottom end, the lower section of the loudspeaker is completely open. So as the bass is coming out of the cabinet, it would be sort of defeating the object if it was only coming out of the front when you've got a 360-degree diffuser. So actually, the bottom of the cabinet's open all the way around. So,
I mean, this is much more expensive to manufacture because, first off, it's made in the UK.
Yeah.
Cabinets are made in Europe. The
Yeah.
driver is made in your factory.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what's better than that? I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. And you guys got to check out the bigger vintage stuff because I've been schooled. I guess is the best way to put it.
We're gonna do a video on one of the bigger guys sometime
we're gonna try. I mean,
brilliant.
we're having fun just listening to everything. I don't know, man. I'm having the time of my life. Like I said, I feel like since I met these folks, and then I thought, no, Dr. Paul Mills, he's not really working there, and he's there like every day. And sometimes you guys told me he likes to get out and make drivers. I mean, because
he's the ultimate nerd. We've got to drag him out. In fact, if you go on our website, scroll down, you'll see the address at the bottom. So we're there. If it wasn't, I don't know what time it is in the UK now. I think we're 8 hours behind.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, he's probably in bed. Otherwise, we'd just get him on a video call and talk to him. I can guarantee you, he'd be sitting at his bench. He's still. I don't know what it is about soldering. He loves doing. He's really into the cryo thing at the moment. He's soldering and making all the crossovers himself. He's there all the time. He's just like, I don't know. It's just amazing.
But you see, that's the difference between you and anybody else. Is this? Dr. Paul sees something that he wants to explore. Some companies, they just say, no, I don't want to spend the money on it.
Well, yeah, and
and you've done that.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
And when we went on this journey, it was just like, well, that's got to be one of the big advantages, that we're sort of, we're in control and it's all on us. And when it's a success, and luckily it's pretty much always been a success for us, so it's like great. But you do feel the pressure a bit. But it's I know it's taken a lot of the restrictions, or shackles is probably the wrong word, but for Dr. Paul especially when he developed the patented BassTrax system and other things, the fine flute, he's into it. It's what he does. It's his passion. Dr. Paul people forget, as a young guy, he got a PhD in electronics. He's fantastic. But I also have to say, it isn't just about Dr. Paul. If we're talking about, Fyne or the founder members of Fyne, you've got another fantastic engineer or designer there in Stuart Wilkinson. And we can all be a little bit flowery in listening to the stuff and coming out with all the wacky ideas. It is a great. Stuart's the guy that's got to turn it into a a proper design and make it work. And but Stuart comes up with some fantastic ideas as well, like the invisible magnet on the rear of some of our speakers. Clearly can't do it on this one. You know, with the invisible grill storage, and we've just got a really good team of guys there that are just like into it. Yeah. Because we've only got ourselves to blame if we don't quite get it right. Yeah. Luckily, we seem to have done that so far.
And a phone number. You have a phone number?
Yeah, we've got a phone number, address, go on the website.
Yeah, I'm going to be going over to visit with these guys. It's just been a joy, and like I said, I'm having the time of my life. I feel like I'm 16 years old again, and that is what all of this is about. So I love this. I love the other vintage stuff. We're going to talk about some other things, but again, make sure that you go to your local dealer and ask them why they are not carrying Fyne Audio, because this is something that is just lighting my world on fire. I want to thank you so much, Max.
My pleasure.
All right, bye-bye, folks.
Cheers on.